So, speaking of John Burr, will you tell me the story of John Burr?
He was kind of a treasure hunter. He looked for things. But he found this cave, and there was a lot of strange stuff in it. And one of the things that was in there is had these little, they looked like cups. They were made out of solid metal. They weren't hollow, but the top had a little depression in it like that. And they had these little crystal spheres that you could put on them, and when you put them on them, they'd light up.
In Burr's cave?
Oh, absolutely. They're there. Absolutely. Really? Light up bright.
Really?
Now, I have 3 references to that. I met a guy in Mount Pleasant. He lived behind my dentist, Dr. Sorensen. He had retired from NASA. And he had a little instrument that looked like a pen, about that long. It wasn't a pen, but it looked like it. And on the end, instead of having an eraser, he had a little crystal. And he pressed a button, pushed something up on a slider, and the thing just lit up and glowed bright, bright, bright. I mean, I go, woo! I said, Les, what is that? And he says, well, he said, that crystal is made out of beryllium. He said, you know, they use that in a nuclear reactor because it speeds up the neutron, speeds them up. And he says it's made out of, it's about, so an emerald, he says, is about 13, 14, 15% beryllium. And the rest is quartz and minor minerals. And I said, yeah, I know that. And so he says, well, so he says, I have a BB-sized piece of plutonium in there, and the slider pushes it up against a crystal with pressure, and it lights up. I'm not the only one he showed it to. No, so that's an emerald, okay? It will also work with thorium. A nuclear reactor would work with thorium if they would build them that way, too. And scientists recommended that they do that, but they didn't do it because they had other purposes for the plutonium. Part of it being for nuclear bombs. But anyway, I was reading in the Lost Books of the Bible, the Pseudepigrapha by Joshua. Or Joshua was talking, and they had warred with the Amorites, who were giants, large people. And they killed them. They had to cut them off at the waist. Then they invaded their temples underground and brought out these sacred things to the Amorites, and some of them were crystal spheres. And Joshua said they were so bright that they equaled the brightness of the sun.
Really?
He also said some of them like it were in the Ark of the Covenant. That's an energy source. Okay. Now, another place in the Lost Books of the Bible, you read the Testaments of the prophets and the Levites and Testament of Solomon. Solomon said he was building the temple, and he sent one of his pages to go and pick up, I think it was in a cave, but somewhere, a large emerald. And he says it had something on it that looked like a tail. And he said it lit up bright, and he used it to light up the temple so that workers, the courtyard or the yard, so the workers could work all night long. And it says specifically that it was an emerald. And those ancient records are very, very old. So what were they doing back in the time of Moses? I didn't write it. Charlesworth wrote it. So, and I have those quotes. I marked them.
Yeah.
So it keeps cropping up, that knowledge. There were some crystal spheres that were found in South America a long time ago. And they were lit up that way too, and of course they were confiscated.
Really?
The Virgin Gorge incident in 1973, when they were blasting through the mountains for a highway, and the entire crew saw this. They set off a big blast, and there was smoke that would blow out of the ground in other places, and it opened up the ground, and there was a tunnel there, and all the workers saw massive amounts of light coming out of the ground. And they went inside the tunnel. They found these rooms that were just beautiful, highly polished walls like crystal. And there were these crystal spheres that were putting out massive amounts of light, and machines that they didn't know what they were. And niches where you could put stuff in. And stuff was put in these niches, and tables. And all this light coming out of there. They reported it, and the government came in, set up a barricade, brought in concrete trucks, and filled up the hole.
Really?
and told everybody to shut up. But 2 of those people are still alive. I know people that have talked to them. I haven't talked to them. One of them lives in Leeds, Utah. And one of them took some of those artifacts and hid them out. I'd sure like to find him and talk to him if he would talk to me, because anyway, it was interesting. There's a lot of that that has surfaced over time, and in my research I've turned up quite a few of them, and I doubt very seriously if they're coincidence hallucinations. I've never even had a hallucination in my entire life, and I've never taken any drugs for it. I don't need it.
Yeah.
God. Anyway, it's far out. Any more questions? Are we done?
I got a million questions.
Oh, God.
So back to the dowsing. So